The power of saying no, the word that can change your life. Have you ever agreed to do something you didn't really want to do? Maybe a friend asked for a favor when you were already exhausted. Maybe you accepted extra work even though your schedule was full. Maybe you attended an event simply because you didn't want to disappoint someone. Afterward, you felt tired, frustrated, and maybe even a little angry, not because of the other person, but because you said yes when every part of you wanted to say no. Most people believe that saying yes makes them kind, helpful, and likable. But there is another side to that story. Every unnecessary yes quietly becomes a no to something else. When you say yes to everyone's requests, you often say no to your own goals. When you say yes to distractions, you say no to your dreams. When you say yes because you're afraid of disappointing others, you slowly disappoint yourself. The truth is simple. Your life is built by what you choose to accept and what you choose to refuse. Yet the word no feels uncomfortable. Why? Because from childhood, we're taught to be polite, to cooperate, to make people happy, to avoid conflict. Over time, many people become experts at pleasing everyone except themselves. Imagine carrying a backpack. At first, it's almost empty. One small request goes inside, then another favor, another responsibility, another promise. Every time you say yes, another weight is added. At first, it doesn't feel heavy, but after months or years, you're carrying so much that you can barely move. You wonder why you're stressed, why you're exhausted, why you've lost motivation. Um, the problem isn't always that life is difficult. Sometimes it's simply because you're carrying things that were never yours to carry. Now imagine taking one heavy stone out of that backpack. It suddenly feels lighter. Take out another and another. That's exactly what happens every time you say no to something that doesn't belong in your life. Saying no isn't about becoming selfish. It's about protecting your energy, your time, your focus, because these are the most valuable things you own. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can return. But time, once it's gone forever. Think about the people you admire, successful entrepreneurs, great athletes, creative artists, disciplined students. Do you think they say yes to everything? Of course not. They constantly say no. No to distractions, no to unnecessary meetings, no to wasting hours scrolling on their phones, no to habits that pull them away from their goals. Their success isn't just built on what they do, it's also built on what they refuse to do. Every powerful life is protected by powerful boundaries, and every strong boundary begins with one simple word: no. But here's something interesting. People often fear that saying no will make others dislike them. Yet the people who respect themselves usually earn more respect from others because confidence isn't about saying yes to everyone. Confidence is knowing what deserves your time and what doesn't. The moment you stop trying to please everyone, you finally have enough energy to build the life you actually want. And that changes everything. There was once a young man named Ethan. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't untalented. In fact, everyone described him as dependable. Whenever someone needed help, Ethan was the first person they called. Can you cover my shift? Sure. Can you help me move this weekend? No problem. Can you join this project? Of course. At first, people praised him. You're so kind. You're always there for everyone. You never let people down. Hearing those words made Ethan feel valued. So he kept saying yes. Week after week, his calendar became fuller. His evenings disappeared. His weekends were no longer his own. The goals he once cared about slowly faded into the background. He had dreamed of learning new skills. He wanted to exercise regularly. He planned to start a small online business. He even bought books that he promised himself he would read. But those books stayed on the shelf. His workout clothes gathered dust. His ideas remained unfinished. Whenever he thought about his dreams, he told himself the same thing: I'll start next week. But next week never came. Months passed. Then one evening, Ethan arrived home completely exhausted. He dropped his bag on the floor and looked around his room. Everything felt unfinished. His notebook still contained plans he had written months earlier. His goals looked exactly the same. Nothing had moved forward. For the first time, he asked himself a painful question. If I'm always busy, why am I not getting closer to the life I want? The answer was difficult to accept. He wasn't busy building his future. He was busy protecting everyone else's priorities. That realization stayed with him. The next morning, another request arrived. A coworker asked him to take over an extra assignment. Normally, Ethan would have agreed immediately, but this time he paused. He looked at his schedule. He thought about the promise he had made to himself. Then, with a calm voice, he said, I'm sorry, but I can't this time. There was silence. His heart raced. He expected anger, disappointment, maybe even criticism. Instead, the coworker simply smiled and replied, Okay, I'll ask someone else. That was it. The world didn't fall apart. No one argued. No one stopped talking to him. For the first time in years, Ethan realized something important. Most of the fear existed only in his own mind. That single no gave him something priceless, an extra hour. He spent that hour reading instead of rushing to solve someone else's problem. The next day, he said no again, not to everything, only to the things that didn't match his priorities. Little by little, something unexpected happened. He became calmer, less stressed, more focused. His mornings felt purposeful. His evenings belonged to him again. The dreams that once seemed impossible finally had room to grow. Ethan discovered that saying no wasn't closing doors, it was opening the right ones. Every respectful no created space for a meaningful yes, and that simple change began transforming his life in ways he had never imagined. Why saying no feels so difficult? If saying no can improve your life, why is it so hard? The answer lies deep within human nature. For thousands of years, survival depended on being accepted by a group. Being rejected by your community could mean danger. So our brains learn to avoid anything that might upset other people. Even today, that instinct is still with us. Every time you're about to say no, your mind may whisper, what if they get angry? What if they think I'm selfish? What if they stop liking me? These thoughts feel real. But most of the time, they're only fears, not facts. Think about the last time someone politely said no to you. Maybe a friend couldn't meet you. Maybe a coworker was too busy to help. Did you hate them? Probably not. You simply understood they had other priorities. Yet when it's our turn to say no, we imagine the worst. We create stories in our minds that rarely happen. The truth is this: people who genuinely care about you will usually respect your boundaries, and those who become upset because you have healthy limits may have benefited from you having none. That's an uncomfortable truth, but an important one. Another reason saying no feels difficult is guilt. Many people confuse kindness with constant availability, but they're not the same thing. Kindness means helping when you truly can. People pleasing means helping even when it hurts you. One comes from generosity, the other often comes from fear. And fear is a poor guide for making life decisions. Imagine your energy is like the battery on your phone. Every conversation, every commitment, every responsibility uses a little bit of that battery. Now imagine giving your battery away to everyone else. By the end of the day, there's nothing left for the things that matter most. No energy to learn, no energy to exercise, no energy to spend time with family, no energy to work on your dreams. Eventually, you don't just feel tired, you feel empty. That's why protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's necessary, because you can't give your best to others if you've already given everything away. Healthy boundaries don't push people away, they help you show up as your best self. So, how do you start saying no? You don't need to be rude, you don't need long explanations. Sometimes a simple sentence is enough. I appreciate you asking, but I can't. I'm focusing on other priorities now. Thank you, but I'll have to pass. Short, respectful, clear. Remember, every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you're saying yes to something that does. Yes to your health, yes to your peace of mind, yes to your future. And over time, those small decisions shape the person you become. Success isn't only about working harder. Sometimes it's about choosing fewer things and choosing them wisely. Because every meaningful life is built one decision at a time. And one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make is learning when to say no. Your life, your choice. Take a moment and imagine your life 1 year from today. Picture yourself waking up each morning with a clear mind. Your days have purpose. Your schedule is no longer filled with things you never wanted to do. You're making progress toward your goals. You have time for your health, time for your family, time to learn, time to grow. Now ask yourself one question: what changed? Was it luck? Did someone suddenly make life easier? Probably not. The biggest change was the decisions you made every day. You stopped giving your time away without thinking. You stopped feeling guilty for protecting your peace. You realized that every yes has a cost, and every thoughtful no has a reward. Remember this: you don't need permission to value your own time. You don't need to explain every decision you make. And you don't have to carry responsibilities that don't belong to you. Life becomes lighter when you stop trying to please everyone. Because no matter how hard you try, you will never make everyone happy. Someone will always disagree. Someone will always want more from you. But that's okay. Your responsibility is not to meet everyone's expectations. Your responsibility is to live a life that reflects your values. Every successful person understands this. They don't chase every opportunity, they choose the right opportunities. They don't answer every request, they protect their focus. Because focus is one of the greatest superpowers in today's distracted world. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water while there are dozens of holes in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps leaking out. Your time is that water. Unnecessary commitments are those holes. Learning to say no is how you close them. Slowly, your bucket begins to fill. Your confidence grows, your habits improve, your goals become achievable. Not because you suddenly became more talented, but because you finally gave your dreams the time they deserved. So, starting today, ask yourself one simple question before saying yes. Does this bring me closer to the life I want or farther away from it? If the answer is farther away, don't be afraid to say no. Not with anger, not with guilt, but with confidence. Because every time you protect your time, you're protecting your future. Every time you protect your energy, you're protecting your potential. And every time you choose your priorities over distractions, you're becoming the person you were meant to be. So remember this: saying no doesn't close the door to success, it opens the right one. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you see the power of setting healthy boundaries, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who always says yes when they really want to say no. Until next time, keep building better habits, protect your time, and become the best version of yourself. The future you want begins with the choices you make today.